All right, we are back with another Starbase summary. It's February 18th through the 21st out at Starbase, starting it off with a flat piece of concrete here. Now, for some context, over on the other side of the road, from the left from this perspective here, that's where the big Giga Bay is going up, and they're pulling this concrete together as sort of like a turnout area, so the boosters turning onto the road, I guess, boosters and ships, have more room. I don't know if it's for cars to go by because the bay is right there across from it. But they're putting in this big sort of, I'm going to call it a turnout area, right? There's some protected COPVs. The way that they move these things around is just getting more and more complicated. We've seen them strapped to the beds of trucks, just sort of lying there flat. Then we've seen the wraps around them. Then we see them in these like transport structures, the orange wrap vertically moving around, etc., etc. In any event. Looks like here's our roller painting work over on the bottom of the Giga Bay. A lot of people chiming in on why they're using rollers, the overspray, the viscosity of the stuff they're trying to put on there, getting the coverage on it, all sorts of different ideas down in the comments. I imagine that the truth is a mix of all of those things. If it's a two-part epoxy style paint, it's definitely a mix of things. But in any event, I understand why they're doing little rolls over there to paint that thing, to paint it, to coat it, whatever you want to call it. So this is the thing, like truly the Giga Bay is next level. That little stick there in the middle, yes, enhance. It's the next level of, did you get it? It's the next level of Giga Bay. It's the first little stick that they put up. We saw this go up. We saw the cranes lift that thing up there, and we're like, oh, no way. We've been waiting for this thing to start to catch up with the Giga Bay over at the Cape. In fact, no, there's two of them. This is getting out of hand. We've been waiting for them to sort of get caught up. Oh, apparently we're going to put a lot of these things in. Spared no time once they started getting going on the next level. But still levels left to go. Over at the Cape, still way ahead of the Giga Bay here at Starbase. But in any event, what is that? That's the booster aft. What was that? Hooked to the crane, it looks like. Over in the, not the rocket factory, the rocket garden. That's B-17's aft, if I'm not mistaken. There's some ship transfer tubes in the jig, getting ready to install. This says in ship 40. How we keep track of those things is basically witchcraft to me. People just pay a lot of attention to exactly which part goes where and which nose cone in the line is which piece of equipment. I wonder if it's always correct. I think they do have it on pretty good authority when they put the numbers on the videos. I'm not sitting here like reading a label saying, oh yeah, that one's clearly for 40. But we see them leaning in sort of this jig where they get them in the, let's call it the assembly position, where they have them sort of vertical, trying to move them around the factory, laying down. You sort of, I guess it's easier to get them to turn corners and stuff like that when you keep them vertical. So over here, you can see on the left-hand side that there is a truss pair, I guess we're calling it truss pairs, missing just out of the edge of the frame there. Here we're going to look at Ship 41's nose cone really quickly. It's got one little missing tile in the middle there. Yep, we're going to enhance it. Like little 3 pins that hold the tile in there. That is really cool, and it's also the sort of incomplete tile, the half tile. Really interesting how the top tiles are larger and the bottom tiles are smaller. You'd think that the top tiles, as it starts to come together, you would need smaller tiles to do the top of the nose cone, but I guess that's not how that actually works. We're going to get some foggy nighttime shots. I don't think actually fog. I think there were fires burning down in Mexico or something like that, and it was just hazy as all get out for a couple days here late in the week into the weekend. I kept getting air quality alerts for Brownsville. I'm on Brownsville Weather Service, and I kept getting these air quality alerts saying it's not great for people who are sensitive to spicy air. Over across from the launch site, still working on that air separation unit. I do hope that we can, probably not this one, I do hope that we can get like a full explainer on exactly how an air separation unit separates the air. I would be really curious to learn about that process. I know I've had some explanations down in the comments before. I would love to go and walk around with an engineer that actually runs one of these things and really get the straight scoop on exactly how these things separate air. Because my initial guess was, temperatures and pressures, separating out the constituent gases of the atmosphere, right? Your nitrogen, oxygen, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think it's as simple as that. I think there's a little bit more voodoo happening, or will be happening when they finish assembling these things, or this thing over at the ASU site. But it's really curious, like, how much can a unit of this size reasonably separate in a day? Is it like a teeny tiny drop in the bucket compared to what a Starship would need? I really am curious. I guess there's going to be one way to find out. It's like we had Gage up on the dune there where everybody parks. You can walk over on the beach over in this other area. But there is a nice pan from the ASU across the street over to Pad 1. See, the orbital launch mount is now orbital launch missing. Because orbital launches have been missing the entire time from Pad 1. But I digress. Over at Pad 2 was in the background there. Now, there's the ASU on the left-hand side. This is across the road, and you've sort of got Mexico behind you, the Rio Grande behind you from this perspective. Basically, big grassy beach area behind you. And this is the dirt work, the ground preparations. We've seen them. They were sort of tearing off that top layer. They were bringing in all of this. The dirt people in chat are going to correct me if I'm wrong. Fill dirt. They're putting in new dirt that's, I guess, a little bit better. Could we say it's a better known quantity as opposed to the top level of the soil that has all the organic matter and the beach sand and the Starship pieces from Flight 1? All the concrete pieces from Flight 1 is really the accurate thing to say there. Instead of having that out there, they scraped all that top layer off and they're trucking in just over and over and over again, these big trucks filled with dirt, and then they're sort of spreading it out, tamping it down, driving back and forth across it, like leveling it out to give a good sort of known surface to work from. I think they possibly also raising it up a little bit. I don't know how much that's going to save you from storm surge if a hurricane comes this way, but normal conditions when the water level rises up a little bit, I imagine that's the thing as well. But that water table, I mean, sheet pile work, by the way. The water table out there are times when you can dig 1 foot down and hit water. And you're walking around and it's okay, it's pretty squishy, but you go over that way and you dig a little hole and you hit water really fast. We know this because we were installing some of our solar equipment over there. And when it gets super soggy, you get water really fast. So I really do wonder how that's going to play with all of the surface area is probably the right thing to say there. But maybe that's why they're doing so much ground preparation work to prepare that area for, I guess, loads, we could say. It says possibly a diesel generator being lifted up. It's nice and yellow painted. I don't see an exhaust, but maybe that exhaust is on the top of it. It certainly does look like one of those generator sets that you'll see, but it's probably just all closed. Like it's all the wires hanging from the bottom of it. Maybe that's a clue. Here we're doing the old manual chopsticking again. We just hook the steel or the wire rope up to the chopsticks, and then we just pull them open. Tell me this guy. No, okay, he's on the work platform. That looked more like a tagline. Is that not actually a cable? I just assumed that it would be a cable, but I guess they could just do it with a regular rope because there shouldn't be too much, I guess, resistance if you're just trying to open that thing. Huh. Interesting. Over at Pad 2. You know, Pad 2, it looks rough. Like the top parts look all angular. Angular? That's not a word. Now I can't say it. Angular and clean. And then you have the painted under part. See the big pipe there? And then underneath it, it's nice, a nice flat surface. And the rest of it looks like the scrappers got after it. It looks like something that the raiders from Fallout put together to make a fence to keep you from getting into their base, except there's that one hole on the side that you can sneak through if you're doing a sneak sort of build. It literally just looks... I don't know. I'm surprised that it hasn't... I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. I hit it with Rocket Blast a couple times. I'm sure it'll all just blend together. Little bit of a test here. This is just the bottom, the sort of flame bucket area that's getting tested here. A minor rainbow in this shot. Not as good as the one they caught the other day when the full top deck went ham. You see there's scaffolding, scafungus up there on top of that thing, so that would explain why the top deck wasn't getting decked. Got a little bit of Pad 2 chopstick testing here. That's interesting. The short, like, incremental movements there, that's what my 3D printer looks like when it's calibrating itself. It, like, moves what it thinks is a known distance and tests whether the distance is the known distance that it thought it moved. So I wonder if those sort of movements that we were seeing has something to do with measurement or calibration of the chopsticks. I mean, imagine having to know exactly where those things are in their positioning, I guess relative to the tower, but then also relative to the ship or booster that they're picking up. Sensors galore would be my guess, but that really did look like a calibration sequence or something like that. So here we're looking at the little alien head cutie moving around. It just moved a little bit. I didn't see like a full extension there or anything, but there's that Buckner Heavy Lift Cranes LR 11,000. I think that's the one preparing for the ceiling work. Uh-oh. We got to do an oil change? Where do you change the oil on an LR 11,000 crane? Nah, I guess he was just batting in the hatch there or something like that. The nice Caesar G ambiance shot here with the backlighting sifting through the... Oh, it's not fog. Maybe this is back into the air quality problems. It's like sunsets. Oh, what a beautiful sunset. You know why it's a beautiful sunset? Because it's pollution. The air reacts in prettier colors when it's got pollution in it. So, just one of those things. Got a little bit of nighttime cryo loading area. I've seen a big test there. I think that was just normal outgassing. It wasn't like a huge plume like we saw in the past. Tank farm's almost always alive. Like when you look at the little, see the pipe in the upper right-hand corner, and that pipe is like frozen and it's got some little vapors come up of it. When the tank farm has cryogenic fluids in it, which is basically always, it's always a little bit alive. Like this truck is a little bit alive. 1977 is nitrogen. You know how I can tell? Because it says nitrogen right underneath it. But even the trucks driving down the highway, you'll see them sort of venting out of the back. Like, is that normal? And yeah, they always sort of vent out the back there, I guess, to maintain the pressures and stuff. We usually see a big plume like that as well when they're loading. I really do wonder why the plume increases. You'd think when you were piping it into the tank farm itself, it would be different, but this it even says venting is normal. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I imagine you're like driving down the road and you see that thing like venting and it's like, oh my God, it's 1977. Oh gosh, what is that? And you worry about that it's venting something dangerous into your Suburban minivan, whatever you're driving beside it with, but it's fine. It's just nitrogen and venting is normal. So they put a sign on it. That is a scraggly looking great blue heron. I've already made the it's an okayed heron joke before. But I guess this is going to be our daily wildlife shot out there at the beach. I feel like that heron should like look into the wind to be more aerodynamic. In any event, folks, a little bit going on there. It's just, I guess, the big news that ASU work, the ground prep continues, and those sticks for the next level of the Giga Bay are going up to the next level. As always, appreciate y'all watching us here on the channel. Remember, like and subscribe or whatever, and we will see you nerds later. Thanks for watching.